personalities and whatever it might be, you can't miss a press conference. Ronda asked to, from the day that this fight was made, she said, I'll do press. I'll do press leading up to the event, and she went and did the talk shows and did all that stuff, and this is the way she wanted to do it. So I said, okay.
Is there any rumor that she might have a quick turnaround if she went from
I don't know. We'll see how this thing plays out and go from there.
You're not happy about this, though, right? Like, this is not an ideal circumstance?
No, it's definitely not ideal. It's what she asked for, and I said, like I said, back in the day, Ronda would literally do anything we asked her to do. Anything. And if the guys wouldn't do something, she would pick up the ball and do it herself. So for her to ask for something like this, how can I say no to that? She's done a lot. She's done a lot.
Dana, is there a concern that you're coupling that though with the fact that the fight's on a Friday? Like by combining the two, is that?
There are a lot of things that suck about this. Yeah, it's yeah, we're in a pretty crazy position, but she's one of the greatest ever to do it. She's done a lot for this company. She's done a lot for the sport. She's done a lot for women in the sport, and this is what she asked for. So she's never asked for much. She asked for this, and we said yes.
Will you let her keep doing this if she wants it for another fight?
No. This is a one and done.
Will she speak after the fight?
in your mind that you're opening the floodgates?
Did what?
Will she speak after the fight, though?
Did what?
Is Ronda going to speak after the fight?
I assume yes, she will. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, have you talked to her?
Is what?
As far as Amanda Nunez not participating, is that something that she elected to do, or did you guys decide since Ronda wasn't doing it to keep her out?
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about, Amanda wasn't represented in the videos and the commercials and all the things that we did. There's only so many dollars you can spend to promote a fight. So obviously, if you have to go with, is it Ronda heavy? Absolutely, it's Ronda heavy. It absolutely makes sense. If Amanda Nunez wins on Friday night, everybody will know who Amanda Nunez is.
But as far as her not doing the media day and that sort of thing, did she elect to do that, or did you guys make that?
No, this is just like a, it's different. It's like something we've never done before. It is what it is.
Dana,
Will you keep doing scrums?
Saturday, Friday night is
Me?
is
Probably not.
Mike Goldberg's final UFC. Is there any truth to that?
Which
Mike Goldberg's final UFC is this Friday. Is that true? Or?
That is true.
So what's the deal? Like, did he decide to leave, or are you who's being replaced?
When these kind of things happen, I'd rather not talk about it. You know what I mean? If Mike wants to talk about it, ask Mike.
Do you know who's going to replace him?
I do.
Can you tell us?
Well, listen. We have, we have guys right now from Anik to, several fighters who are involved in the. But I've had a plan for a couple of years now that I've been waiting for it to play out, and it's now playing out. So
When will you make some announcements?
when it all comes together.
So will this be your plan by 208 in Brooklyn?
No. Probably by July, if everything goes my way.
So have you talked to Ronda? Because the great question everybody's asking is how is she doing? Because nobody knows anything about her.
Yeah, I've talked to her every
day.
day. She's great. She's very good.
Her mind.
Her everything. Her everything is good. She's ready to roll. She's ready to fight. She's in a great mood. Yeah, it's all good.
Will she be doing post-fight media?
Well, what?
Will she do like a press conference afterwards?
I assume she will, yeah.
Is there a concern in your mind that this perhaps opens the floodgates for Fighter O'Connor or John Jones on his return to ask for the same thing?
Listen, Ronda Rousey's done a lot. Done more media than anybody ever in the history of this company. Major media that nobody else could get, and she did it all. And this is something she asked for. It doesn't open floodgates. It doesn't change anything. If somebody doesn't want to show up for a press conference, I'll pull them from a card again.
Has Connor said anything about that? Has
Who?
Connor said anything about this to you? About the treatment that Ronda's got this week compared to what he did?
Wouldn't that be something? if Conor was complaining about the treatment of another fighter.
Dana,
That would be a flip.
He is complaining though, like that you and the new owners of the UFC haven't flown to see him yet. What is the status of that request and/or potential meeting?
Yeah. When Conor's ready to talk, he knows where I am.
Dana, talking to Ronda, do you sense that her biggest motivating factor for this fight is proving everyone else wrong as a result of what happened a year ago, or proving something to herself?
Say that again?
Do you sense her biggest motivating factor into this fight is proving something to herself, or proving everyone else wrong?
I think everybody knows that Ronda is psychotically competitive, and I don't know why this is the way she's handling all this, but this is what she wanted to do, you know. And like I said a million times, for a woman who's given as much as she's given to the sport and to this company, it's really not much to ask for, you know.
The media stuff aside, but what are you seeing from her in terms of mindset? Obviously, we haven't.
No,
had a
she's
chance to see it.
as good as I've ever seen her. I mean, you guys have seen her pictures of her and stuff. She's physically in amazing shape. She's in great spirits. She's fired up and she's ready. She's like the old Ronda again. But she just had to deal with this whole thing the way that she wanted to deal with it.
Can you talk a little bit about Amanda, the importance, because she broke so many records as well, you know. She was the first, for Brazil especially, she was the first Brazilian one to sign with the UFC. Now she's the first gay champion fighter
Right.
in the UFC. Can you talk a little bit about Amanda?
Well,
What about her, you know, how important she is for the company?
Yeah, no, listen, Amanda Nunes is one of the sweetest people ever. I mean, she's great to work with. She's easy to work with. You know, she just kind of rolls with it, you know. Never once when everybody was saying, oh, she's not, and you know, being treated with respect and, you know, in the spots and all this other stuff, never complained about anything. Amanda Nunes gets it. First of all, Amanda Nunes is going to get pay-per-view on Friday night, number one. And number two, like I said a minute ago, Amanda Nunes wins on Friday, everybody will know who Amanda Nunes is. You know what I mean? It's going to be the biggest fight of her life, financially and every other way it could possibly be big.
Talking about Keynes and Virgil and GDS, because we didn't have like the whole story. We had like all the points of view there in Brazil. One day saying that they didn't offer GDS. What really happened in that case?
With what?
With
Kane and Verdum?
Yeah, Kane Verdum, and then GDS said that they offered him the fight, but
Yeah.
then Verdum said that they never offered him.
Verdum has turned down 2 fights.
One of them was
JDS, yeah.
And the other
Verdum turned that fight down.
And the other one?
There's different ways to turn fights down. I can call and say, hey, you want this fight? No, I don't want this fight. Or you can say, yeah, for $800,000 in a piece of pay-per-view. That's turning down the fight.
So the one was GDS and the other one, can you say who was?
Yeah, then we offered him a fight with, I think, Alistair Overeem in Brooklyn, and he turned that down too.
Did he say why?
Nope, he didn't.
And have you
Just
talked
said
to Kane since this whole situation, and how is he holding up? Because I know he's a little frustrated.
Talk to who?
Kane Velasquez, after what happened, with him being pulled off the card.
Why is he frustrated?
Well, obviously he wanted to fight, and the interview came out. and he
Sounded
had-
like it in the interview. Sounded like he really wanted to fight. Read the interview. Doesn't sound like he wants to fight to me. When you're a fighter and you do an interview days before a fight and say, you can't stand for 10 minutes, that's insanity. First of all, it's the best organization in the world for fighting. He's fighting one of the best fighters on earth, and that fight lasts 15 minutes. And if you can't stand for 10 minutes, what are you going to do in a fight against one of the, you know how irresponsible it would be, not only for the UFC, but for any athletic commission to allow that fight to happen? It absolutely makes no sense, you know? And I love Kane. Kane's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But if you read that article, it does not sound like he wants to fight.
Do you think he kind of was looking for a way out?
I think that interview happened, and I think he was honest. Maybe he didn't really think that would happen, that you know what I mean? every fighter, I mean, you guys have been watching these fights for 16 years. Every time a guy loses a fight, he gets up there and goes, yeah, my back is broke. Oh, I blew my knee out 2 weeks ago. I twisted my ankle. After the fight, you say, you know what I mean? If you go in before a fight saying those things, you will be taken out of the fight.
He said he had surgery schedule and the UFC knew about it.
He said what?
He had the surgery schedule after the fight and he let UFC know about it.
That's right. So his doctor said he had a surgery. He was dealing with pain, which is completely normal for the injury. He was dealing with pain and he was just going to have the surgery after the fight. What he didn't say is, I can't stand for 10 minutes. I can't do this. And even Jeff Nowitzki was there, said he was having trouble sitting up and standing down, standing up and sitting down at the doctor's office. So there's no way in hell that guy should be fighting right now.
Is Verdun gonna get the purse or like any money from this, or
Is what?
is Verdun gonna get his payment for the purse for the fight? Or
Why would you get the payment for the purse if you're not fighting?
I'm just asking because the fight was.
Don't go to work for a month and see if they pay you.
Dana, any imaginable way?
Yeah. Right. I hope so. I'm not her coach, but I hope she did. That would be a good idea.
What do you make of her sticking with Edmund despite her mother speaking out against it and all the troubles he's had this past year?
Well, the thing is, in my opinion of it, nobody was complaining about Edmund when she was on a tear and beating people in record time, and then she loses the fight, and that's when everybody starts pointing the finger and saying she shouldn't be there. That's her decision. You know what I mean? She's a grown woman. She's intelligent. She knows what she's doing. So,
Dana, any imaginable way at all, Floyd and Conor get in the ring? Any scenario?
Listen, I stopped saying never. Who knows? But highly unlikely. You know what I mean? I think that, I say it all the time, look how long it took for Pacquiao and Mayweather to happen. Those guys are in the same sport. So,
2 more questions.
there's nobody better. No, I'll stick around. There's nobody better at staying relevant when they're not doing anything than Conor and Floyd. They're both masters.
Does that irk you, the fact that people keep talking about this?
Nah, listen, it did bother me until I bumped into 50 Cent and he told me that Floyd really wanted to fight him. He said, no, I'm telling you, he wants to fight him. Whatever.
Do you think a win by Wanda on Friday secure her as the greatest women's martial artist, hands down, no debate, she gets the belt back again?
Well, I think that's the case right now anyway. I mean, if you look at how many times the belt has changed hands since she lost it, she still is, right now. Amanda Nunes has the opportunity, to win on Friday night and then continue to, defend the title and make a name or a mark for herself. So we'll see how that thing plays out.
And do you see her sticking past 2017, win or lose?
And did what?
You see her sticking past 2017, win or lose?
She's going to stick around.
What about the
Well,
report?
if she loses, I don't know what she's going to do. But if she wins, she's definitely.
What about the reports about Habib and Tony potentially fighting in Russia? I'm not sure what timeline that would be, but also for like an interim title.
Yeah, that's not true.
No, that's true?
No.
What about the interim title part?
What I did say, yes, that's true. So we were trying to make that fight. Tony said he will not do that fight unless he makes the same exact money that Khabib makes. Khabib has a different deal. So that ain't happening. So count that one out. And it was never supposed to be in Russia. What I said was, we're doing a lot of things in Russia right now, and the next time Khabib fights, I'll do a press conference in Russia.
Can you make the case, like, why can't Tony ask for the same amount of money? Like, what is...
He has a contract that he just signed.
How long ago? Do you know?
Not long ago.
So is that it?
There's a thing where these guys, I honor every contract, no matter what it is. I get into some shitty deals too. You know what I mean? You got a guy that's making tons of money, but he was a champion, and that was the deal I cut. I cut that deal and I signed it, and I gotta live with my deal. You know what I mean? And if you ever see some of these older guys, whether it be Dan Henderson, whose numbers piss everybody off for some reason, right? All the fighters are pissed off about Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson's been in this sport for 100 fucking years. You know what I mean? And the guy has a couple fights left. So should I cut him and cut his contract in half? Well, it might be the last deal the guy ever has. and it was the last deal he ever had. You know what I mean? This is one of those businesses where you don't look at Dan Henderson and go, guy was a fucking pioneer. Guy was an animal, would fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. Good for him. It's good to see Dan Henderson make some money. No, what I get from these guys is, did you see what fucking Dan Henderson made? Dan Henderson sucks. There's no way this is the shit that I get with these guys. You know what I mean? I'm like, listen, if you can stick around as long as Dan Henderson has and fight the guys that Dan Henderson has, then maybe you'll be making Dan Henderson money too. You know? But when you sign a deal, you honor your deal. You know? Or you at least get to a point, you know, because most guys never make it to the end of a UFC contract. They'll get within 3 fights, and then we want to sit back down and start talking, right? You keep them. You can say, no, I don't want to sit down and talk yet. I'm gonna ride this thing out, and I'm gonna become a free agent, and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna test the market and see what I can bring in. And guys have done it. Ben Henderson did it. The other kid, Rory McDonald. I wasn't thinking of him, but yes, Rory too. And
Lorenz? Lorenz Larkin?
Yep, Lorenz Larkin. All these guys. I mean, ride the thing out and become a free agent. But honor your deal. I have to honor all my deals. Imagine if I didn't honor a deal, you guys would be fucking all over me, man, right? Oh my God, he didn't honor that deal with this guy. And as far as these guys that they look and start, I hate when guys start counting other people's money. You know, the other one is Alistair Overeem. Everybody's pissed off at what Alistair Overeem makes. Alistair Overeem's been around forever. The guy's earned his way up, and that's his deal. You know, nobody feels happy for anybody. Everybody counts everybody else's money and wants to rip up a deal after we make a deal.
So
not the way a deal works.
Talk a little bit about cyborg issues with
About what issues?
cyborg.
Cyborg?
Yeah. How surprised was for you all the news other issues?
Well, you know, I thought it was weird when she kept turning down fights. We created a 145-pound division. She kept turning down fights. First, she said she couldn't make the weight in 8 weeks. Then she said she couldn't make the weight in 11 weeks. You know, and you know, if she was having health problems that were that bad, she should have brought it to our attention. And you know, when she kept turning down fights, when that thing came back, I wasn't shocked. It made more sense on why she didn't want to fight for the 145-pound title.
I find it's become more pushy in terms of asking for more money since the sale.
Definitely, yeah.
Do you have a comment about Josh Barnett as well? I mean, I know it's still in the potential stage.
I don't know enough about it, yeah. I know it happened yesterday, but I don't know enough about it. Call Nowitzki. Nowitzki will have all the information on that.
What's the clarification on Connor's schedule? When do you expect him to fight next?
Connor, the last conversation that Connor and I had, he was taking 10 months off. So everybody keeps talking. I'm not even thinking about Connor. Connor is not in my plans for the next 10 months. At all.
Unless he calls you and clarifies.
Listen, we run a business where we make fights. I know who's available. I know who's not available, right? Connor told me I'm not available for 10 months. We're having a baby. My girl stresses out when I fight, and I don't want to put that on her while she's pregnant. I love it. I respect it. I get it. Do your thing, buddy. And that's it. He's not in any of our plans for the next 10 months.
What about Aldo though? He's talking about maybe fighting for the interim title in lightweight or.
Yeah. So we were trying to make these. We were trying to make a bunch of fights here, and you know, guys. That's why one of the things I always talk about Connor, when I say about Connor, you guys could never really comprehend or understand because you're not really in it. These guys all act like they want to fight somebody till they get the call. Hey, you want to fight this guy? You want to fight that guy? You'd be very shocked at how many guys turn down fights and don't want to fight. Conor McGregor will fight anybody, anywhere. It's the truth. It just really is. That guy doesn't care.
But is it true that Jose Aldo is trying to move up to lightweight division?
No. Would he? Yes.
He was saying that.
He was saying that he asked for Khabib
He did ask for Khabib.
and Ferguson.
No, he asked for Khabib. He
You
wanted
like
to
that
fight
fight?
Khabib because Khabib's looked at as the guy in that weight division. He wanted to fight him.
And then, what
And
happened?
Khabib's dad didn't want him to fight. Khabib's dad wants him to rest.
But is it true that he wants to fight for the light heavyweight interim title?
The lightweight, yes.
And you guys are up to do it?
I'm up to do just about anything. I mean, it depends on, I like that fight. Khabib and Jose Aldo would be fun. I'm in.
Are you done with Khabib and Tony, though? Is that off the table now completely?
Khabib?
Khabib and Tony, that's off the table?
Yes.
And Khabib and Aldo off the table as well?
Yeah, well, Khabib's dad wants him to rest. So, yeah.
These used to be a staple of Fight Week. Is this a sign that they're back?
Did what?
These used to be a staple of Fight Week.
No, this is because Ronda Rousey isn't here. Yeah, yeah, I think so. We'll see how much crazy shit comes out of this scrum and how much more work it makes for me. Cyborg, you talk shit about me and fucking Tony, I would have done, it's gonna, trust me. I'm gonna have to deal with this for the next fucking 2 months after doing this scrum, so.
Huh? Was it your idea to do it?
No, this was not my idea.
Dana, if Holly gets the belt at 208, is there any way we could see her and Ronda fight at 145 in 2017?
Well, yeah, obviously, the plans that I had for 145 were just all, it was, it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. Both those girls wanted to fight Cyborg, right? And if stylistically, they're both great matchups for Cyborg. I actually like both of those fights. Jermaine and Holly are both great fights for Cyborg. Cyborg got her 145-pound title in her division, and it all blew up on me. So.
Why didn't you just award her the belt like you did Ronda before she fought?
What's that?
Why didn't you just award when you opened up the 135 division, Ronda was already reinstated as the champion. Why didn't you just do that for Cyborg?
Well, there were different circumstances under the Cyborg situation, obviously.
Do you, if you could do it over again, would you handle the Cyborg situation differently? Would you just go ahead and make 145 and see what happens?
If you were in the discussions when she came on board, she was 100% into cutting down to 35, and she met with Lorenzo. Her and Lorenzo met, and they had conversations, and her plan was to get to 135. Obviously, that's the money division, you know what I mean? Even at 145 pounds, it's not really the money division, but maybe she could have turned it into something, and maybe she, but that was never the original plan.
Knowing what you know now, do you regret putting the 145 division, the fact that she might not get the fight for you?
Listen, Holly and Jermaine will be a good fight. It's a good fight, and I don't know. I got to see this. The wheels are already in motion, so I just got to see how this thing plays out and go from there.
Is the UFC going to add extra weight classes in 2017 beyond that one?
No. That was never the plan to do that one either. But now we're in, so we'll see how it goes. Who knows? Maybe one of these two will win the belt, and we'll find a contender, and I don't know. We'll see how this whole thing plays out, though.
Is that the main event?
Dana.
Is what?
Is that the main event?
Right now it is, yeah.
Dana, how's it?
Huh?
You could change?
Yeah, I could.
How is it?
Talk to Lorenzo, and you have to deal with all this crap and say, man, you got a good deal.
Lorenzo don't want to hear this shit.
Yeah. Has he ever,
Lorenzo's out in his boat somewhere in
you talk to him all?
Panama. We talk all the time. I talk to him a few days a week.
But not about this.
Sometimes about this.
You ever ask for his advice? How would you handle this? That?
No. I really haven't gone to Lorenzo for anything since the Chris Weidman deal. Chris Weidman and Lorenzo, Chris and I met and we couldn't come to an agreement. And he felt that he and Lorenzo had been further down the road on talks about a new deal. So I thought it was only fair for him and Lorenzo to finish it. So I called Lorenzo and I said, listen, the right thing to do is for you to finish this deal with Weidman. I said, do what you want to do and I'll honor it. But don't get crazy, man. Don't get crazy. And he got it done. He got it done. Chris literally left dinner with me in New York, flew to Lorenzo's house, hung out with Lorenzo for a while, and then flew back to New York. And we had a deal.
Dana, what do you say about the critics or the claims generally that Ronda's got preferential treatment because of the WME conflict of interest? That because she is one of their clients, she's going to get.
WME has nothing to do with what I'm doing over here. Listen, WME is obviously the new owners of this thing and whatever, but
this is not true.
I'm still doing everything. Ari Emanuel and Patrick Whitesell are not involved in anything to do with the fights that are being made. They're not involved in the production of the UFC or anything. Everything is exactly the way it was. So, you know, if you look at what Ronda has accomplished, what she's brought to the table, and what she's done, she doesn't deserve, you know, one time to do it the way that she wants to do it. She absolutely doesn't. It has nothing to do with WME. That deal was made between me and Ronda. You know, so that has nothing to do with it. Okay, all right. I guess Dominic Cruz and Cody Garbrandt are waiting for you guys.
Anything else you want to tell us?
No, listen. I think that, you know, it's the end of a great, crazy year, and I love this card. I've been excited for this card for a while, and you know, I know it's unfortunate that you know, the way that this is going down with Ronda, because she's awesome to talk to and she's always got some good shit to say, but her head's in the right place, and she's going in against a very tough opponent on Saturday night, and she's ready to roll. So.
Friday.
Thank you. I've literally been reaming my whole crew because we did that whole. Did you see the countdown show?
Yeah.
It said Saturday. Yeah. DirecTV was saying Saturday. Yeah. Thank you.
What's your New Year's resolution for yourself, the company, and?
I don't do resolutions. I really don't do resolutions. Yeah, I don't have a resolution.
What about plans? Big plans for next year?
Let me tell you what. I'm working more now than I ever worked before, man. I didn't think I could be busier. I didn't think it was possible. I was wrong, you know. But what the plan over the next 2 years with these guys, I'm really excited for it. You know, I said it many times publicly. I was really, really fucked up when this deal got done. You know, I honestly believed that it wasn't going to happen, and when it happened, it hit me hard. Then I snapped out of it. I got back into it, but now looking back on it, the timing was perfect. It really was the perfect time and the perfect people to take this thing to the next level. You guys just don't realize the type of power that Ari Emanuel has when he picks up the phone. He literally pick up the phone to call anybody. Me, Frank, and Lorenzo, it's a pretty incredible story, and what we built with the little knowledge we had of television and you know, many other things that we learned along the way. But Ari's the guy. This is the guy this is what he does. It's like I loved the show that we did in Toronto, man. I love that show. One of my favorite shows we've ever done. And I called Ari and I go, we got to put this thing on Fox. We got to get this thing on Fox. I want this to air on Fox, on Big Fox. And then I called Eric Shanks. Shanks said, let me work on it. You know who got it done? Ari got it done. That thing aired on Christmas Eve because of Ari. Ari made that happen. And look at the results. You know what I mean? That thing killed it. It's the second biggest show behind the first show we ever did, which was like 10 million viewers. This thing did 5 million viewers.
How difficult was that? Because you have the pay-per-view schedule still going on, right?
Yeah, well, thanks to the pay-per-view guys let me do it. You know, I made the pitch, and they agreed that thing should be on big TV, and we did it, and it was a home run.
Will it happen again?
Would have never happened without Ari. Ari got it done.
Will it happen again? Is this an ongoing
Yeah,
thing?
I think that's going to be an ongoing thing on Christmas Eve. But it makes sense, you know, if you look at, seriously, Christmas Eve, try and watch TV. It's all the same shit. There's Christmas specials, and, you know, the movie everybody's seen 100 times with the kid with the gun, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I mean, it's literally the same stuff that we've been watching our whole lives on TV, and then you go with a UFC event that night. It makes sense, you know. Even if everybody probably has people over, you know, for Christmas Eve, and what better to have as background on TV than the UFC that night? It's perfect. It really is perfect.
Would you consider doing a live one?
Huh?
Would you consider doing a live one?
No, that would be the worst thing to do to my employees ever. These guys already work so hard and do so many. I got to surprise everybody. Christmas Eve, we're doing a show. That would suck for everybody. But we can, with what happens throughout the year, we can put together a really good end of the year show for Fox.
What do you
So.
think really required to do Ronda's latest selection? Coming back from the first series and sort of having that.
Yeah, you know, I think that all the greats throughout history, you know, you have to look, they've all lost. Ali's lost, Tyson lost. You know, you go through the list of all the greatest fighters that have ever lived. Everybody has a loss, man, and it's always interesting and exciting to see if they can overcome and come back from a devastating loss like hers was.
Can you clarify your comments about Nate Diaz? Because years ago you were on the record as saying he should stay at lightweight, and now you're saying he's too big for lightweight. I'm just trying to sort of understand.
I said he should stay at lightweight?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
But how do you feel about him now?
He's a massive 170 pounder too. Massive. Nate Diaz is bigger than you.
He's not bigger.
Oh, he's bigger than you.
He's so not bigger.
Oh yeah.
He's super not. Nick's not bigger than you. Much less Nate.
They're both bigger than you.
We have to wrap them, guys.
Thanks, everybody.